He played like a man chased by ghosts. Violent, relentless, beautiful. Junior Seau wasn't just a linebacker. He was a force of nature, a myth in motion. His hits shook stadiums. His smile lit up cities. And behind it all, a silent scream no one could hear. Until it was too late. This is a story of a warrior who gave everything to the game he loved, and in return, lost himself.
He did have a brain disease linked to head trauma, like the kind he endured in football.
The sun blazes different in Oceanside, California. Bright, scorching, relentless. It was here, in a modest Samoan household, that Tiana Seau Jr. was born on January 19th, 1969. The son of immigrants, the son of discipline, the son of pressure. In Samoan culture, family isn't just important, it's everything. Junior's father, Tiana Sr., worked construction. His mother, Louisa, was a church-going woman with a backbone of steel. They had 7 children and little money. But what they lacked in luxury, they made up for in faith and fierce expectation. Junior, as he would come to be known, was explosive from the start. He wasn't just athletic, he was possessed. At Oceanside High School, he excelled in everything: football, basketball, track. But football was where the fury lived. He became a local legend, an engine of chaos. He hit harder than anyone. He moved faster than anyone. Coaches didn't need a stopwatch, they needed a leash. But there was a problem. He wasn't academically eligible for USC, the school of his dreams. He enrolled at a junior college for a year, a crushing embarrassment for a young man chasing legacy. And yet, that year became his ignition point. When he finally arrived at USC in 1988, he had something to prove, and he did. With violence. At USC, Junior was a wrecking ball. In his lone season as a starter in 1989, he was simply terrifying. 19 sacks, countless broken plays, and an aura that told quarterbacks, run or die trying. He became a consensus All-American. NFL scouts weren't just impressed, they were scared. And in the 1990 NFL Draft, with the 5th overall pick, the San Diego Chargers took the hometown kid with a nuclear motor and a hero's heart. From day one, he didn't just show up. He erupted. San Diego had never seen anything like Junior. He flew around the field like a predator. He wasn't just fast, he was everywhere. Blitzing, covering, hitting like a truck filled with destiny. By 1992, he was a Pro Bowler. By 1994, he was the soul of the Chargers, leading them to their first ever Super Bowl. They lost badly, 49-26 to the 49ers. But Junior's 16-tackle performance felt more like a moral victory. He wasn't just the best linebacker in football, he was its conscience. He played with joy, rage, and purity. No scandals, no shortcuts, just relentless sacrifice. From 1991 to 2002, he made 12 straight Pro Bowls. He started 200 of 204 games for the Chargers. He was more than a player. He was San Diego. The stadium roared louder when he raised his fists. When he danced before the snap, fans knew something violent and glorious was about to happen. But even gods bleed. Football is a deal with the devil, and the devil always comes to collect. Junior's style, head first, full speed, reckless, began to erode the machine. His shoulders ached, his knees throbbed. The pain never stopped. And neither did he. By 2003, the Chargers, rebuilding and cautious, traded their legend to the Miami Dolphins. The city mourned. But Junior? He just kept hitting. He played 3 seasons in Miami. He was older, slower, and still more dangerous than most. But his body was fracturing. In 2005, a torn Achilles nearly ended everything. He retired in 2006. Then came the twist. He unretired after just 4 days. The New England Patriots had called. And Junior wasn't ready to stop being a soldier. In New England, he played with the same ferocity, but this time he was chasing a ghost. The one thing missing from his Hall of Fame resume, a Super Bowl ring. The 2007 Patriots were a juggernaut. They went 16-0. Junior was 38 years old, but played like a man who'd found the fountain of youth. Then came the heartbreak. Super Bowl 42. David Tyree, the helmet catch. The Giants stunned the world. Another chance at immortality slipped through his fingers. He played 2 more seasons. He was 40, still hunting quarterbacks, still ignoring the screams of his body. Finally, in 2010, he retired. For real. 20 seasons, 268 games, over 1,800 tackles, dozens of broken bones, countless unseen wounds, and that's where most stories end. But Junior's story wasn't over. Retirement didn't fit him. Junior wasn't a man made for quiet. He surfed daily. He appeared on NFL shows. He smiled for cameras. He started his foundation for at-risk youth. From the outside, it looked like peace. But behind the scenes, a storm was growing. He couldn't sleep. He was irritable, paranoid, forgetful. His mood swung like a pendulum, loving one day, lost the next. Friends noticed. His ex-wife, Gina, noticed. His children noticed. But no one could name the demon. Then came the car crash. In 2010, just months after retirement, Junior drove his SUV off a 100-foot cliff in Carlsbad. Miraculously, he survived with minor injuries. He told police he fell asleep at the wheel. But whispers started. Was it really an accident? He laughed them off. But his eyes told a different story. On May 2nd, 2012, the sun rose like any other day over Oceanside. But inside Junior's home, time had stopped. His girlfriend found him in the spare bedroom. Lifeless, a single gunshot wound to the chest. The man who had survived over 2 decades of NFL warfare, whose body bore the scars of 1,000 battles, was gone. He was just 43. There was no note, no warning, but the wound told a story. He didn't shoot himself in the head. He shot himself in the chest, just like Dave Duerson, the former Bears safety who had taken his own life a year earlier and left a note asking that his brain be preserved for science. Junior never left that note. But his intention was clear. The warrior wanted his brain to speak for him. And it did. The NFL had long been haunted by whispers of concussions, memory loss, depression, symptoms that lingered like ghosts in the bodies of retired players. But Junior's death turned whispers into screams. His brain was sent to the National Institutes of Health. The results were definitive. Junior had chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. This degenerative brain disease, caused by repeated blows to the head, doesn't show up in MRIs. It can't be diagnosed in the living. But in the dead, it leaves a fingerprint, a trail of tau protein tangles that corrode the brain's function over time. CTE doesn't just damage memory, it ravages personality. It breaks emotional control. It invites paranoia, rage, confusion, and despair. Junior wasn't weak. He wasn't broken. He was poisoned, slowly, invisibly, by the very game that crowned him a king. His smile had hidden it well. But the damage was done long before the silence arrived. Junior's death became a national story, not just because of who he was, but what he represented. He was a star, a role model, a Hall of Fame lock. He was supposed to be the one who beat the system, who aged gracefully, who retired to cheers and joy. But instead, he became its most famous casualty. His family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the NFL, joining thousands of other former players and their families in a growing storm of legal action. The NFL, for years, had denied or downplayed the risks of repeated head trauma. But now the world was watching. Junior wasn't just a fallen linebacker. He was a martyr. Under pressure, the league reached a $1 billion concussion settlement, meant to compensate players and fund long-term research. But no amount of money could fill the crater Junior left behind. Public trust eroded. Documentaries like League of Denial aired on PBS. Films like Concussion starring Will Smith hit theaters. The world began to see what players had known all along. The glory of the NFL came at a price. And no price was higher than the one Junior paid. In 2015, 3 years after his death, Junior was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It should have been a triumph. Instead, it was bittersweet. The Hall, citing a long-standing policy, denied his family the right to speak during the ceremony. A video tribute was played. His name was etched in bronze. But his voice, through his children, his mother, those who loved him, was silenced. Critics were furious. The man who gave his life to the game deserved more. His daughter, Sydney, eventually spoke publicly in interviews. She said her father was a bright light who loved deeply and gave endlessly. But behind the scenes, something dark consumed him. "I just wish I could have saved him," she said. But no one could. Because the disease didn't show itself until it had already won. In ancient myth, heroes fall not just because of fate, but because of the very traits that made them great. Achilles was invincible, except for the heel he ignored. Icarus soared too high, chasing glory, until the sun melted his wings. Hercules couldn't escape the weight of his own strength. Junior belongs among them. His loyalty, his fearlessness, his warrior code, it built his legend. But it also blinded him. He played through concussions, ignored pain, dismissed rest. He believed, like all heroes do, that he was unbreakable. But the NFL doesn't make gods, it makes men. And it asks those men to break over and over in front of millions, to smile through agony, to bleed in silence, to disappear when they're no longer useful. Junior refused to disappear. But when the roar faded, when the adrenaline stopped, when the body rested, the mind never did. And that was the true tragedy. In San Diego, he is still a giant. A 9-foot statue stands outside the old stadium grounds, arms raised, eyes skyward. His number 55 remains iconic, and the stories about him never grow old. Teammates remember his locker room speeches. Coaches remember his hunger for film. Fans remember the way he celebrated, spinning, leaping, shouting with joy, like a child playing a Warriors game. And every time a young linebacker laces up, every time a coach tells a rookie to play like Junior, his spirit lives on. But so does the warning. Today, the NFL has better concussion protocols, independent neurologists, blue tents, spotters. Players are benched after headshots, something unthinkable in Junior's era. Yet CTE remains incurable. The science, though improving, still lags behind the damage. And the whispers still echo. How many more? How long until we stop pretending we don't know? Junior was more than a football player. He was a father, a brother, a son, a warrior, a symbol. He gave everything to a game that gave him fame, wealth, and glory, and then asked for more. When it had taken all it could, it left him alone, in the quiet. And it's in that quiet where we now remember him, not just for the tackles or the highlights, but for the lesson he became. That even the strongest fall, that even legends bleed, that even joy can come wrapped in tragedy. His name will live forever, not just in the Hall of Fame, but in the conscience of the game itself. Because Junior didn't just die, he revealed. Junior gave us everything, his passion, his spirit, his soul. And in the end, he showed us a side of football that too many tried to ignore. If this story moved you, if it made you see the game differently, then share it. Keep his name alive. And if you want more untold stories like this, of legends, of losses, of the men beneath the helmets, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the game is bigger than stats. It's built on the lives of warriors. And their stories deserve to be told.